What's going on, guys? It's your boy Mail Jones here, back from the Big Fan, back here with another video, and we're gonna be doing the rest of our Week 1 picks. So we're gonna get started here. So we're gonna be going our game by game picks to see which teams I think is gonna win this week. So before I get you to the video or my Week 1 picks, don't forget to like the video, put the thumbs up, subscribe, my share more option. And comment down your opinion below to see who you think is going to win Week 1. So, yeah. So, basically, I chose the Eagles to win 31-24, and the Eagles won 24-20, which I got that one right. Then I chose the Chiefs to win 23-20, and then they lost 27-21, which I got that wrong. So, basically, I'm 1-1 this week. So, let's get started with the rest of the games. So we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay is favored by. They're favored by at least like 1.5 points, which that's a good line. I mean, I don't really agree with this though. I mean, the spread gotta at least be like, in my opinion, I think the spread should be at least like more than a point. It gotta be at least 3 or 4, or at least like 7. Like they're favored by like a point. So at the same now this game can totally go either way. Now, I know most people are picking Atlanta because of the injury that the Buccaneers have. Now the Buccaneers are going to be without their left tackle Tristan Wirfs, which that's huge because he's a dog, he's a stud. I know it hurts, but losing Godwin kind of hurts, which he won't be there week 1, which I know he's recovering from that ankle injury. So yeah, so the Bucks are dealing with some injuries, which they're not dealing with a lot. But I still expect them to hang around this game and all that. And even last year, the Falcons did sweep them last year with Kirk Cousins, but now this is a new one with Michael Penix. Now, I'm not sure how good Penix is going to be, but he has upsides to be good and all that, but I just don't know if he does. Now, the question about the Falcons is their defense. Now, their defense, is totally, their defense is totally going to be a question mark because they don't really have, like, they just don't have like a defensive line. Like they don't have a pass rush. They don't really have a great secondary. So I think the Bucks offensively, even without Chris Godwin, I think they can find a way to at least like dice up and rip up any defense because the Bucks have playing weapons like Mike Evans and Cade Otton, and they got Mecca Ibuka, the rookie. So yeah, I think they can run the ball a little bit on Atlanta. Atlanta does have a great offensive line, but they're missing some player, which they don't have Caleb McGarry. But I think the Bucks D line, they can get pressure. And and don't forget that one of the coaches did rip up Todd Bowles' defense though, which I don't really know his name, but I think he did. Even Sean McVay did rip him up. But I think Todd Bowles is going to do a really good job defensively. I think he can do a good job defensively, like containing, Michael Penix, force him to beat them and all that. But yeah, but at the same time, I lean towards the Buccaneers to win this game because I think the Bucks are just the better overall, more talented team and have the better quarterback and have the better coaching staff. And I just don't think the Falcons are going to be good enough offensively. I don't think they're going to be good enough to at least like do enough against this Bucks defense. And I really think that Penix will struggle with his reads and all that. So I think it will be a close game. I think it will be high scoring. I think the Bucks can win this game. I'm going to say like 27-23 or like 30-27, something like that. So, yeah, I lean towards the Bucks to win, but give me Atlanta to cover. All right, next game we have the Cincinnati Bengals against the Cleveland Browns. The Cincinnati Bengals they're favored by 5.5. But in my opinion, I think the spread should be at least 10 because 5.5 is just too much. It's just a little bit too small because I just don't really think 5.5 is enough. I mean, this spread should at least be at least 7 or 8 or more, in my opinion. But anyway, I know a lot of people are just gonna say, "Oh, the Bengals, suck in Week 1 because they can't really get something going. The offense is terrible in Week 1. The defense is terrible Week 1." Yeah, I get it, but at the same time, the Bengals, don't. The Bengals are on top are just like they nearly made the playoffs last year, and last year they swept the Browns. Like, I understand the Browns are a tough matchup for the Bengals because they do have a great D line and a great secondary, but at the same time, they play too much man coverage. Like, even though the Bengals receivers, they're gonna get open and make some plays. Like, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are gonna get open. Yoshi Boss is gonna get open. Like, those guys are gonna get open. They're gonna get open against the Browns secondary because sometimes the Browns play too much man coverage, and the Browns defense can be soft at times. I mean, and on the other side, Joe Flacco, he's a gunslinger. I mean, he's gonna rip the rock and throw the ball somewhere, put it right in the hands of the defender. I mean, Joe Flacco's a guy sometimes who can't save a team. Like, he can win some big games and all that, but sometimes he struggles in bad moments where he doesn't have good moments. But I think the game can be a lot closer than we expected to. But I lean towards the Bengals to win. But because I think the Bengals are the more complete team, they have the better quarterback, and I think their D line is going to do a better job stopping the run because the Browns don't have a run game because we don't know who the running back for Cleveland's going to be. And, I think the Bengals offensive line can find a way to control the Browns pass rush, which that can put the Browns defense on their heels. So, yeah, so basically, I'll take the Bengals to win. I'll take them to cover as well. I think the Bengals win 28 to 16 because I don't think the Browns offense is going to do enough to score some points. So, yeah, so I lean towards the Bengals both ways. Next game, we have the Miami Dolphins against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are favored by 1.5. Obviously, this game right here can go either way. Now, I know most people could be picking the Dolphins to win because they have the better offense, and some people could be picking the Colts to win because the Colts could be more talented than them. But at the same time, they're both even to each other, but they don't got Anthony Richardson starting, so it's Daniel Jones starting. So basically, lots of people are going to be saying, "Oh, the Colts stink, Daniel Jones stink, and the Dolphins will win because of that." Yeah, that could be true, but here's the thing. The Colts kind of do have a better roster. They have better coaches. They have the better line of scrimmage play. Like, they have a better offensive line, a better defense. They have a better secondaries too. And they have a lot of weapons on offense too that can really give the Dolphins secondary problems because Michael Pittman could be a problem. Josh Downs could be a problem. Tyler Warren could be a problem. Alec Pierce can be a problem. Like, the Colts have weapons. Jonathan Taylor is a beast. But the Dolphins pass rush coming back healthy could help the Dolphins defense, get after Jones and all that. But at the same time, Big Lou has given the Dolphins offense a lot of problems. Because I remember when he was with the Bengals, he gave the Dolphins offense some fits. Now, could he do in this game? We don't really know. But here's the thing. The Dolphins do have explosive weapons on offense, where their offense is healthy now. Because now you got Tyreek Hill healthy, Jalen Waddle healthy. Darren Waller is not going to play in this game. They got HN healthy. I don't know if the Dolphins going to be able to run the ball on the Colts because the Colts defensive line is great. And they on the flip side, I don't know. The Colts could totally run the ball on the Dolphins if the Dolphins D line has injuries, but with the Dolphins pass rush being healthy, I think it could really help the Dolphins stop the run because the Colts are good at stopping the run, and the Dolphins sometimes are soft against the run at times. But the issue with the Dolphins is they're not great against the pass, and the Colts sometimes aren't great against the pass either. So basically, I think it's going to be a little bit of an offensive game. I like both teams a little bit, but at the same time, it's going to be closer than we expected. But I'm going to pick the Dolphins for fun. Like, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. And the reason why is that, the Dolphins got the better quarterback. The Dolphins got the more explosive offense. The Dolphins are going to be more better in the passing game because the Colts sometimes they won't be able to throw as much, but the Colts might do a good job passing the ball because now they got Daniel Jones as the quarterback. Because we know he's not good, but he's really good at managing the game and all that. But so basically, I think the Colts, find a way to at least I think they keep this one close though, but I like the Dolphins here to win this game. I like their offense more, especially with the explosiveness. And despite the Colts having a great secondary, I don't really think the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins can rip them up. So yeah, I like the Dolphins here. Next game we have the Carolina Panthers against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are favored by -3.5. This game right here could go either way. This is gonna be a fun game to watch. Now, here's the thing. Now, I like this game because it's gonna be fun to watch. Obviously, it's Nation of the Kitty. It's Cat Nation of this game. But obviously, it's hard to choose because it can go either way because both teams weren't great last year. They both didn't have a great defense. I mean, their defenses were horrific. Their offense was fine, but even especially at the end of the year, the Panthers' offense was fine. It was playing really good. The Jags on the other side, their offense is fine. Their defense was fine as well. I mean, the Jags defense was not great last year. So basically, it's hard to choose. I know a lot of people are on the Panthers because they think the Panthers, have the offense to move the ball against Jaguars defense. But the Panthers, without Adam Thielen, I feel like their receiving core is not great because they got T Mac as their number one wide receiver who's starting. Hooker's gonna be out. Legette's unreliable. They don't have tight end, but they do have a running game with Rico Dow and Chuba Hubbard. Maybe they can run the ball a little bit on Jacksonville. Well, Jacksonville's really good against the run, but they're not great against the pass. So I feel like with Tyson Campbell, being healthy, I feel like it can help the Jags pass defense a little bit. But the Panthers don't have a great defense. Like their defensive line outside Derrick Brown's not good. Like if you can block Derrick Brown with at least with two hands before with four hands with two people, I mean, you should be fine. And the Panthers, they have J.C. Horn, but outside J.C. Horn, the secondary is not really. They don't have another two corner that can really cover the Jags receiver because Horn and Thomas can be a great matchup, but Travis Hunter could be a problem because he might play on both sides. Who knows? So basically, I think Trevor Lawrence is gonna have a good game. He's gonna dice up the Panthers secondary, which is not really great against the pass. So basically, I think the Jags will win. I'm picking Jacksonville to win, and the reason why it is that I feel like the Jacksonville's offense is more explosive. I think they're better in the passing game, and they got more weapons on offense as well. And I just really think that, like, I just think the Jags are just a better version of the Panthers. And they pretty much have the better quarterback. And I believe in Liam Cohen, even though he did rip up the Panthers before, which I think he could do it again. Because he did in both games with Tampa Bay, but I think he could do it in Jacksonville. So yeah. So I like the Jags to win this game, but I'll take the Panthers to cover the 3.5. I think Jacksonville wins by a field goal. So I'm going to say like 27-24, 24-21, something like that, or like 2017. Maybe it could be a high scoring game, but I don't know. We'll probably see what the Panthers offense can do without Thielen. So yeah, so I like the Panthers to cover, but I'll take the Jags to win. All right, next game we got the Las Vegas Raiders against the New England Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 2.5. Uh, this game right here can go either way. Now, most people are on the Raiders to win because of history, and the Raiders could be a better version of the Patriots. But the Patriots have revamped their roster a little bit. They did add some good players to the roster. They have a great coach who I believe in Mike Vrabel. They got a quarterback who can really break out in year two. So basically, I believe this game can go either way as well, but it's gonna be a fun game to watch. But obviously, I will take the Patriots to win this game. And the reason for it is that I just think the Patriots, I think the Patriots are going to be a much more talented team than the Raiders this year. I feel like they have the better defense, and the Raiders' defense is not great. Like their D line outside of Crosby's not great. The linebacking core outside of Devin White is not great. The secondary is really bad. Like they don't really have any corners. Like who's going to be covering Stephon Diggs and Demario Douglas? Like who's going to cover these guys? Like these guys right there. Like Stephon Diggs is gonna make some plays. He might get over 100 receiving yards, maybe 200. Like who knows? Drake May can do enough to at least dice them up. And I feel like with the new improved offensive line, I feel like they can find a way to block. They'll find a way to control the Raiders' pass rush. Like if they can block Max Crosby, I think that should be really good. And I think the secondary of the Patrons, even without Christian Gonzalez, I feel like it's fine. Which he won't play, but they still got other corners like Carlton Davis, who can really lock down the Raiders receiving core, because the Raiders receiving core is not good because they got Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. Like I think the Patriots secondary will find a way to defend them. And that can really put the Raiders' offense in a tough position where the Raiders, their O line is not great, but the Patriots' D line is great, which I think they can give Geno Smith and the Raiders' offense some fits. And I expect Josh McDaniels. I feel like he'll find a way to at least rip up the Raiders' defense, because the Raiders' defense is not great, especially against the pass. But they're good against the run, but not good against the pass. If the Patriots can find a way, at least offensively, to run the ball a little bit, I feel like they can be fine to get them all at second and third and longs. So yeah, so basically, I take the Patriots to win, but I'm gonna take the Raiders to cover because I think the Raiders here might do enough to hang around this game, because I think Geno might make some plays and all that. So yeah, so basically, I take the Raiders with the cover, but I take the Patriots to win. I think the Patriots win 23-20, maybe a 27-23, something like that. But I think it could be a low scoring game though. If the Patriots offense can show up, if I feel like the game will be closer if both offenses show up. So yeah. So I'll take the Raiders to cover, but I'll take the Patriots to win the game. All right, next game we have the Arizona Cardinals against the New Orleans Saints. The Cardinals are favored by a touchdown, it looks like. So it's 6.5. So yeah, so they are favored by a touchdown. So basically, this is a game that can totally go either way. Both teams are not great. Um, I will pick the Cardinals to win the game, and the reason for it is that I think the Cardinals are like the more complete team. They have the better quarterback, and the Saints, they're going through a new change because they have a new coach. They have a new quarterback, and Spencer Rattler, who's going to be starting. Uh, you know, it's like a new regime in New Orleans, like it's a new culture in New Orleans. And I project them to be like the worst team in the football this coming in 2025. Uh the Cardinals, I just have a feeling the Cardinals are just like the much way more better team and all that. And I just really think that the Cardinals have the better defense. The Saints have the better they're the more explosive offense. And I just really think that the Saints, their defense may not be as great. The Cardinals, their passing offense, like I feel like they'll be better in the passing game and the running game because the Saints are good against the run, but I feel like the Cardinals might run the ball a little bit on them, especially with James Conner, and I think they can run the offense. And their defense is much improved, which I think they'll find a way to at least like get after, who's playing quarterback for the Saints and make life difficult on them and all that. So yeah. So basically, I think the Cardinals should easily win this game. I think they can win by a lot. I think Kyler Murray, shreds the Saints defense. I think they'll do enough to score some points. I take the Cardinals to win this game and to cover. I'm going to say Cardinals win at least by a lot. I'm going to say Cardinals win like 38-16, 38-10, something like that. So, yeah. So, I like the Cardinals here in both ways to win and cover. Next game, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New York Jets. Uh, the Steelers are favored by 2.5. Uh, obviously, I think this game right here can go either way. Now, most people right here are probably picking the Jets to win because, it's in New York. But who's ever picking the Jets to win, you must be high, you must be drunk, or something like that because the Jets are not going to win this game. The Steelers are easily going to win this game. And I'm going with the Steelers to win this game. And the reason for it is that the Steelers, it's an Aaron Rodgers revenge game because he played against his old team against the Jets because we know he knows the Jets. And Fields is playing against the Steelers, his old team, the Steelers, which I don't think he will get his revenge game on them. But I think the reason why I think the Steelers, win this game is because I think the Steelers, they have the better quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. They have the better coaching staff. And they're just a more complete team. And, the Jets, they're probably going to be one of the worst teams in football this year because they have a quarterback who holds onto the ball for so long in Justin Fields. He can't read a defense. And I think the Steelers' defensive line does match up well with the Jets. And even last year when these two teams played, the Steelers did beat them, though. They did blow them out. Like, they put up 30 points on the Jets. Now, I think the Steelers should easily win this game because I think the Steelers, they pretty much have, like, the pass rush to get after, Justin Fields. They have the secondary, which is upgraded, which they did upgrade the secondary, which they have the corners to man up against the Jets receivers who can man up against Garrett Wilson. I think Ramsey and Wilson will be a great matchup. I think they can find a way to at least like take away Wilson and make them throw the ball to other people and force the Jets to run the ball. I don't think the Jets going to be able to run the ball in this game, and the Steelers defense won't get overwhelmed by there. But the Jets defense is really good. The Steelers won't be able to run the ball as much, but I don't think it's going to be much of a running game and all that. So, yeah. And, DK could be a problem for the Jets secondary. So, yeah, I feel like Aaron Rodgers could totally dice him up and all that. So, yeah. So, basically, I lean towards the Steelers to win this game, and I lean towards the Steelers to cover. I'm saying it's going to be a close game, though, because I think the Jets can make it interesting, though. But I don't see it being a high-scoring game. I think it will be a low-scoring game because both offenses does struggle to get something going. I'm probably going to say Steelers win like 20-17, 17-13, 13-10, something like that. Like maybe in like the low 20s, something like that. So, yeah. I lean towards the Steelers to win both ways. I take the Steelers to win and the Steelers to cover. Next game, we have the New York Giants against the Washington Commanders. This game right here, the Commanders are favored by 6.5. Obviously, this game right here can go either way. I don't think it can. I'm just kidding. It won't go either way. But I lean towards Commanders to win this game. Now, the Giants can totally keep this in, can make this interesting, though, because the Giants have a great defensive line because they can get pressure, they can get after the quarterback. But their secondary is a problem. Like, they can't really stop the pass. Like, they give up too many big plays. But the Giants' D-line is fantastic. I think they can like hang around this game, especially last year in one of the matchups. The Giants did hang around against Commanders, but Commanders end up winning by 5 points. So I think they can make this one interesting, though. So basically, I think the Commanders will win is because the Commanders got the better quarterback. The Commanders got the better coach. They're at home, and they're the more complete team. So, yeah, so basically, I think the Commanders should easily win this game because I think Jaden Daniels will do enough to make some plays against an atrocious secondary of the Giants. Because, they got weapons on offense like Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, who can really, like, rip up the Giants secondary. I just don't know if the Commanders are going to be able to run the ball as much. I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball. Like, that's going to be tested. But I think the Giants, offensively can get tested as well. But I heard some injury reports saying that Malik Neighbors is probably is on an injury report, but I don't know if he's gonna play. But if he doesn't play, I feel like that's gonna hurt like the whole Giants offense. But Russell Wilson is starting in this game, which is most likely though. But I think this game, I feel like this Giants game can be closer than we think. But even if Russell's not playing, I think maybe the Commanders does blow them out. But I think the Giants can do it. If they can do enough on offense with the show up, they can hang around this game. Because let's say if the Giants, if they just run 3 and out and just make another big play, I think that'll be awesome. So basically, I think, the game right here, it could be interesting. I think it could be close. So basically, it should be fun to watch and all that, but I don't really see it being like a blowout or anything. So I do lean towards Commanders to win, but giving the Giants with the points, I feel like 6 is just too much. I mean, 6 is just way too much points, for a spread. Maybe it's a little bit, but I'm probably going to say the Commanders win like 23-17, something like that. I think they can win by 1 score. So, yeah, or maybe like 24-17, something like that. So, yeah, so basically, I'll take the Giants with the points. But I think the Commanders to win this game on the last drive, which I think they'll find a way to at least like control the game and all that. So yeah, I like the Commanders here. Uh, Next game we have the Tennessee Titans against the Denver Broncos. Uh, the Broncos are favored by 8.5. Now 8 is a lot of points, which it is though. Basically, I like the Broncos here to win this game and to cover. And the reason for it is that, the Titans are going to be dealing with learning curves because they have a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward, who I really like, and which I think he could struggle in his first game, but I feel like he could be nervous because, he's also playing against a good He's playing against a Broncos defense that was elite last year, especially against a defense, a team that led the league in sacks. Now, the Broncos is really good at getting pressure, and they're really good at stopping the run. I think that can really give Cam Ward and his Titans offense some issues. And the Broncos do have a really good secondary led by Pat Surtain, and they got a first-round corner as well. I think the Broncos secondary can find a way to at least contain a Titans receiver. They can find a way to contain Calvin Ridley. And, they'll find a way to at least contain Tyler Lockett. Those are great matchups. The Broncos corners are great matchups for a Titans receiver. So, yeah. And also, the Broncos have a better old line. I think they'll find a way to block the Titans' pass rush because the Titans' pass rush is good. And the Titans' secondary is fine, but it's not great. I think Courtland Sutton will be a problem. I think Bo Nix will find his reads. I think he'll find a way to make some plays against a Titans secondary that's not great. And I think they can run the ball in the Titans. They got J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. I think they can run the ball. Evan Engram could be a problem. So, yeah, basically, I like the Broncos here to win this game and cover that big spread. The Broncos has got the better quarterback. They have the better coaching staff. They're at home in this game. They're the more complete team as well. So, yeah, I take the Broncos both ways. So, I take the Broncos to win and cover. All right, next game, we have the San Francisco 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers are favored by 2, but now the line changed to 1. So the Niners are favored by 1.5. So obviously this game right here can go either way. Now, most people could be picking the Seahawks to win because the Niners are probably dealing with some injuries though. I saw that CMC is on the injury report. We don't know if he's going to play yet, but I hope he does. If he doesn't play, it's probably going to be Brian Robinson. He's a really good running back. Brandon Ayuk's still recovering from that knee injury. He probably won't be back until October. I hope Juwan Jennings play. I mean, he's back healthy. Let me see. Okay, Juwan Jennings, he practiced, so he should play. Ricky Pearsall is fine. They also added Valdez Scanlon to the practice squad. So yeah. The offensive line is healthy enough. Trent Williams is healthy. Nick Bosa, he's healthy, so that should help. So, and Lee North's healthy. I mean, the Niners defense looks healthy. So yeah, the Niners defense looking healthy right now. And Kittle's healthy as well. So part of the offense is looking a little bit healthy. But on the other side, the Seahawks, their defense, it's pretty strong. They have good corners. They have a great defensive line. On the other side, their offensive line is not great, but they got great weapons like Jackson Smith and Jigba Cooper Kupp. I mean, they have a good run game with Kenneth Walker. I don't really know if the Seahawks are going to be able to run the ball on the Niners because the Niners' defensive line is really strong. And the Niners do find a way to match up with the Seahawks really well because the Niners, they have, the offense to like move the ball against Seattle. And they pretty much have, like their secondary is young, which I think they'll find a way to at least man up against the Seahawks receivers. And I think Robert Saleh has had, he has found ways to confuse Seahawks offense. I think he could do it again with his defense, even though the defense is pretty young. So yeah, so basically, I think the Niners will win this game because I think the Niners are a more complete team. So yeah, so basically, I think the Niners will win, but I'll take the Seahawks to cover because I think the Seahawks will do enough to hang around this game and all that. So yeah, because their defense is really strong. Because even last year, the Seahawks did split with them. So yeah, I think the Niners will win this game. I mean, I know it's in Seattle and playing Seattle is tough, but I think the Niners are just going to win because they're just a more complete team and they're just getting healthier a little bit. So, yeah, so I like the Niners to win this game, but I think the Seahawks will cover. I think it will be close. I'm probably going to say the Niners win like a 26-23, something like that. Or maybe they win like 28-27 or like maybe they like win. Maybe it could be a low scoring game or something like that. So, yeah. I like the Niners to win and the Seahawks to cover. Next game, we have the Detroit Lions against the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are favored by 1.5. Now, this game can go either way. Now, I call this one a trap game, though, and the reason for it is that I just really think that, the game can go either way, and the Lions are playing on the road against a good team because now the Packers do have Micah Parsons now. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to play. Now, I picked the Lions to go to the Super Bowl, which that was correct, which I did pick them to go to the Super Bowl. And I will be picking them to win this game, though, which I will be picking the Lions to win this game. And the reason for that is that the Lions, are just too physical for the Packers. Like, the Lions feel like they're just a much more complete team. And they pretty much have, like more skill group. Like, they're, like the Packers, they're dealing with some injuries, though. Like, they're dealing with some injuries on the offensive side. Uh, we don't really know what the injury status is. Like the Packers are dealing with injuries offensively. Like Jaden Reed is questionable to play. Wicks is questionable to play. Romeo Dobbs look healthy. Tucker Kraft looks healthy. Jacobs looked healthy. Musgrave looked healthy. Uh now they're gonna rely on Matthew Golden to be a stud. Which that's kind of like not ideal. Like the Lions, on the other side, the Lions, have a really good defense. They have a really good offensive and defensive line, which that can really get the Packers issue, which I think, the Lions, they can get pressure, they can get after the quarterback, they can stop the run, which they don't really allow you to run them over. They have a really good secondary. They have good corners that can really man up against an on-the-road receiving core of the Packers because, it's really going to get the Packers offense issues because their drop back passing game, especially with Matthew Golden going at least being the Packers' number one receiver, is kind of not ideal. And, the Lions got more weapons on offense, that can really rip up any defense like the Packers because the Packers, they don't really have the corners to match up well with the Lions receivers. Even if Micah Parsons is playing, I mean, who knows? He may not be good in shape because he'll probably play for a little bit and he might sit out the rest of the game. Like, he may not be 100% because he's dealing with a back injury. But the Packers secondary, doesn't really have the corners to match up well with the Lions receivers. I think Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams is going to be a problem. So I think Jared Goff can do enough to dice them up and all that. even without the Lions, without their offensive coordinator and a defense coordinator, I still think they can find a way to stay competitive and they can find a way to at least and get it like head of the game. But yeah, I know it's in Green Bay and playing in Green Bay is tough, but at the same time, I just think the Lions are just a much more complete team and they just got better quarterback play and they just got more weapons on offense. And they pretty much have a better defense, a more talented defense, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think it will be close here, but I like the Lions here. I think they can win by one score, maybe like 30-23, something like that. Or maybe they win like 28-21, something like that. So, yeah, but if the Packers offense can show up, I think they can keep this. I think they can hang around. But I just like the Lions here. Cause and don't forget though, the Lions did sweep them last year. That's something you gotta know. They did sweep them last year. So I feel like one matchup, I think the Lions will win. The other match, I think the Packers can win. So yeah. All right, then next game we have the Houston Texans against the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are favored by -3.5. Obviously, this game right here can go either way. Now, most people right here could be picking the Texans to win because the Texans defense is elite. Now we know their defense was really good last year, especially in the playoffs. Now I can see this game being closer though. Like I can see it being a close game because the Texans, they're pretty strong on the defensive line, and the Rams are strong on the defensive line too. So I see a lot of defense in this game though. But if Stafford was playing this game, I lean towards the Rams. But if he's not, I lean towards the Texans. But going to LA is kind of tough environment though. I mean, it is though. For a good team or good Rams team that made the playoffs last year, I mean, yeah. Like, here's the thing. The Rams defensive line is pretty strong, but their secondary is suspect though. Because they don't have any corners. But the Texans on the back of their defense have great corners, which, that can really match up with the Rams receivers really well. When they got Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. But at the same time, I don't think the Rams going to be able to run. I don't think the Texans are going to be able to run the ball. Going to let the Rams run the ball as much because I don't think the Rams are going to be able to run the ball really well. Which I don't really think the Texans defense will get overwhelmed by there. I don't think the Texans are going to be able to run the ball as well because the Rams D line won't get overwhelmed there. But the Rams defense could get overwhelmed at least by the Texans passing attack because they got Nico Collins and Christian Kirk. Which I think Nico Collins can have a good game here because the Rams don't really have the corners to match up well with the Texans receivers, which they don't. I mean, this could be a trap game, and this can go either way, though, because the Rams sometimes do struggle to beat good teams at home, which they do. But I really want the Texans to win this game, but I don't really like bad offensive lines traveling on the road against a good pass rushing team. So I'm going to go with the Rams here because I think the Rams are just like in my opinion, I think the Rams are just like the much more complete team. Like I think the Rams are just a more complete team than the Texans. But if DeMeco Ryans, I mean he had success against the Rams. I mean he gave the Rams offense tons of issues. But I feel like if he could do it in this game, I feel like the Texans do have a chance to win. So yeah, so I like the Texans. I like the Rams here, but give me the Texans with the points. I think the Rams win by a field goal. I'm probably going to say the Rams win like 27-23 or like 23-20, something like that. I kind of see a little bit of defense in this game, a low scoring game, but I'm not too confident like in a high scoring game because I don't see both these teams scoring 30 points. So yeah, so give me the Texans to cover, but I'll take the Rams to win. All right, next game we have the Baltimore Ravens against the Buffalo Bills. The Baltimore is favored at 1.5. Now the Bills were favorite, but now the line changed saying Baltimore is favorite. So yeah, Baltimore's favored to win this game. Obviously, this game right here can go either way. Now, most people could be picking the Bills to win because the Bills are at home. But here's the thing. It's not September anymore. It's not like January anymore. Now, we know last time these two teams play, I mean, the Bills did beat them in the divisional round. And then, last September, the Ravens did beat them in the regular season. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun game to watch. So, basically, it's not September anymore. So basically, it's not in January, which is not going to be snowing. It's not the divisional round anymore. So this kind of means that I'm going to be picking the Ravens to win this game. So I'm picking the Ravens here, and the reason for that is that the thing is that, in the month of September, it's not going to be snowing. It's probably going to be cold there. It could be windy. Like, who knows what the temperature is going to be down there in Buffalo, because we know that it's not going to be snowing or windy anymore. It's not going to be in September, which is always nice weather there. But it's going to be a Sunday night game, which we know is going to be cold there because it could be partly cloudy there in Buffalo. But it's kind of difficult to pick the Bills to lose at home in front of the fans because the fans, are just jumping through tables through the Bills Mafia and all that. And thinking that the Bills Mafia is a difference maker. But at the same time, the Bills, they just got too many injuries on the back half of their defense. I mean, let me look. So, yeah, the Bills got injuries on their defense. Tre'Davious White is doubtful to play because he's dealing with an injury. I mean, the rest of their corners, they're healthy. The linebackers are healthy. I mean, their defense looks healthy. The receiving core looks healthy. Like, the Bills on paper look healthy. And the Ravens, we know they don't got Isaiah Likely. So I would consider them still being healthy. So yeah, so both these two teams look kind of healthy coming through, heading towards ahead of week one. So yeah, but at the same time, the reason why I think the Ravens are going to win this game is that I just think the Ravens are just going to be a better version of the Bills. I think the Ravens, they pretty much have the corners to man up against the Bills receivers. They have, a great D line that can really man up against the Bills, that can really get after Josh Allen and make life difficult on him. And they pretty much have the weapons on the other side. The Ravens pretty much have the weapons on offense to move the ball against the Bills' defense, especially against their secondary, which I think they can rip them up a little bit. And Lamar Jackson's really good at ripping up good secondaries. So yeah, so basically, I think the Ravens should easily move the ball on them. So yeah, but everybody's gonna be saying that Lamar Jackson was not the MVP and Josh Allen was, and they think the Bills will win that. But yeah, but at the same time, I think the Ravens are physical enough to beat the Bills, which and I think they have and I just really think they pretty much have the defense that really like get out. I feel like their defense could totally win them this game, or maybe they can win by the last drive. But the only way the Bills can win this game is that if their defense can really get after Lamar and make life difficult on them, and also if they can find a way to control the game and keep Lamar on the sidelines and all that. But at the same time, I think the Ravens offensively can do enough to at least control the game, keep Josh Allen on the sidelines, which I could put them in good field position to win. So I like the Ravens to win this game here, but I'll take the Bills to cover to keep it close because I think the Bills are just like I just think the Bills will do enough to keep it close, but if the Ravens can get up early, they might blow them out. So yeah. So I'm probably gonna say it's gonna be close. I'm gonna say Ravens win like maybe like a 30-20. Maybe they win like 31-30, or maybe they win or something like that. Maybe more of like a high scoring game. Because I think, the Bills can totally like give the Ravens defense problems. Because especially the Ravens pass was really bad on defense, especially through pass defense as well. So yeah. So I like the Ravens. I'll take the Bills with the points, but I'll take the Ravens to win the game. And last but not least, Monday Night Football, we got the Minnesota Vikings against Chicago Bears. Minnesota is favored by 1.5 points because the Bears are now 1 point dogs against them. Obviously, this game right here can go either way. Now, a lot of people are picking the Vikings to win because the Vikings, are just a much more better team than the Bears. But at the same time, the Bears, they have a new coach, Ben Johnson, and all that, but football is just more related. That the question is, can the quarterback find a way to decipher a defense? Which that's a question. Which I don't know if which I don't really know if I believe in Caleb Williams and his painted nails to at least read through a Brian Flores defense. Like, Brian Flores is a really good defensive coordinator, and he's a really good schemer, and who's gonna blitz a lot, and Caleb holds onto the ball for so long, which I don't know why, but he just does. Like, think about it. Caleb is the Bears, got weapons on offense, and Ben Johnson, he's a good schemer, and he does really good against Brian Flores' defense. He does a really good job out coaching him and find a way to at least attack Brian Flores, especially with the Lions. We'll probably see what he could do with the Bears. But I think the question about the Vikings is their secondary. They don't have the corners to match up with DJ Moore or Rome Odunze. But they do have the pass rush that can really get after Caleb and make life difficult on them. But the Bears don't have a great pass rush, and the Vikings have a strong offensive line that can really give JJ McCarthy a lot of time to go through his reads and all of that. Which I don't know how good JJ McCarthy is going to be because he's coming off a serious injury, and I just really feel like that I just feel like the only way that the Bears can win this game is that if their offense can show up and they can run the ball and throw the ball. And even last year, the Vikings did sweep them because their defense, because with Brian Flores, they gave him problems. So yeah, they could totally do it again in this game. But I think this game will be close and it will be competitive. I expect it to be a low scoring game, but I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm gonna take the Bears to win because I just think the Bears got the more proven quarterback, and I just don't know how good JJ McCarthy is gonna be. We don't know what to expect from JJ because he's coming off an injury, and I don't know how good he's gonna be. And this is gonna be his first ever NFL game here. Like, we know he's not a rookie, and this is his second year in the league, but this is his first year starting because he missed a whole season due to an injury last year. But I don't. He played in the preseason, but I just don't really know if he's gonna be good overall. But I think the Bears can. They did improve their offensive line a little bit to control the Vikings pass rush. So yeah, I think the Bears. I think they'll find a way to win this game offensively. I think they'll find a way to cover. But they pretty much have a great secondary that can really cover the Vikings receivers. So yeah, so basically, I'll take the Bears to win. Maybe they win by a field goal. Maybe they win by 3 points. So yeah. So I'll take the Bears to win. Those are all my week 1 picks for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, if you disagree with me, just let me know in the comment section below where your week 1 picks for this week are. So yeah, so this is Emmanuel Jones, big fan. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and you can see more of my videos and all that. So yeah, it's Emmanuel Jones, big fan. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Peace.